Okay, so good morning to you, and thanks again for joining us as our discussion segment. So we have in the studio Daniel Ochem Abuaje. He's a member of parliament for Bantama and, of course, a certified professional accountant, CPA, United States of America, no problem at all. And I remember last time I was talking about the deposit protection scheme in parliament. I was watching and I was laughing. Well, so we know that in the milieu of Unibank going down under and what the government position has been, and then also the Bank of Ghana's own position to make sure that we consolidate what local banks and the position they hold in the industry. We need to have some discussion on that. We'll have some discussion also on the impasse as government and the minority in parliament are sharply divided over the Ghana-US Defense Cooperation Pact. We'll discuss it this morning. And to help us also do that discussion is Mohammed Abdulaziz. My good friend here is a member of parliament for Myong. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Roland.
Since he came this morning, both of them have been doing extensive reading, but particularly Mohammed. It's going to be a fierce but interesting debate. But good morning to all of you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I hope that you're enjoying your time to wrap up for this period as before you rise. That'll be tomorrow.
Yeah,
for the Easter?
Yes.
Yeah.
And when are you coming back?
I think you're coming back sometime in May. That's
Sometime
what I
in May.
heard. I'm not sure exactly
Not too
when.
far, just a month and a half. Okay.
Yes.
I'll try and visit one of you in your constituency, if you will be in the constituency, so that won't be bad.
Roland,
Yes, sir.
you would visit one of us in our constituency.
One of you, yeah.
Yes.
That is
I can reasonably
assume
that
it's going to be
it's
going
going
to be Bantama.
Would you have the strength and the will to travel, not just to the north, but to Myong, where you'll be taken to very, very typical villages in the northern region? Would you?
I think sometimes you underestimate my prowess.
Well, let's see what happens.
Yeah, I've been to China, I've been to Paga, I've been to a lot of places.
Let's see what happens.
You're
Even
welcome
just
to Bantama anyway, if you choose to come.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. But we know that we have to do the discussion, but let's start with what is topical. And we're now in kind of indecisive, or perhaps having an impasse on our hands about this Ghana-US Defense Compact, where we should have been initially in Parliament, and now the media has gotten wind of it. I just apprising myself of it 2 days ago when it was sent to me on my WhatsApp platform, and I see it's become a huge debate. Already the minority is saying that defense cooperation arrangement should be withdrawn from Parliament. But first, let me start with you. You are with the minority. A press conference was held by your leader in the House, and the main points consistently espoused were what? If you can just apprise us.
Roland, good morning again. Good morning to my brother and colleague, and good morning to our viewers, especially my constituents back in the Myong constituency. The position of the minority is very clear on this matter. Even before we come to the content of the agreement, one issue that has come to the fore is the fact that the supposed agreement is not signed and it's not dated, and so I cannot believe that this is coming from executive arm of a government, because any other person can just find a piece of paper and begin to put these write-ups on it. There's nothing to show that this is coming from the defense minister or President Akufo-Addo. Every agreement coming to Parliament must be signed by a responsible officer and must be dated. That is not the case in this matter. And so Parliament cannot be invited to act on this document. And so that is just the preliminary observation that I have made. And that position was actually started yesterday by one of our members on the committee, Honorable Roxon. And I think it's a very, very valid point that every serious government should, I mean, it doesn't take you more than 1 minute to sign a document. You just don't bring this thing to us and we expect us to work on it. But you see, Roland, this agreement, if approved in its current form and shape, would be to surrender our sovereignty to the United States of America.
Why is that?
There are several clauses, several clauses. In fact, almost every clause in this agreement, if we go ahead to ratify, as the executive arm is calling on us to do as Parliament, we would be betraying the trust that the people of this country have entrusted into our hands as members of Parliament. We are not there to make the laws for ourselves, but for the people who elected us to represent them in Parliament. And so, look, I would refer you to Article 2, Purpose and Scope. And Roland, let us get this thing right. When the Defense Minister and their NPP communication team members wants us to believe that they are only renewing an existing agreement, I say it is not true. This is a fresh agreement between Ghana and the United States of America under the watch of President Akufo-Addo as a president and Nitiwul as a defense minister. This thing has got nothing to do with the 1998 treaty or agreement. It has got nothing to do with the 2015 agreement or treaty. It is true.
Even though it's been cited?
Yes.
By this very document that you hold? Citing
it in this document does not make it the truth. In fact, it must be stated clearly that Ghana have had some military and defense cooperation with the US and some other countries for God knows how long. It is not bad, it's not strange to have a military cooperation with another country. What makes the distinction is the content, the terms and conditions.
And hearing the terms worry you?
Very, 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 very.
And I cannot
go to sleep and sleep well if we were to ratify this agreement in its current form. And remember that Parliament, we don't have the power, we don't have the mandate to alter or change anything that they have brought to us to ratify.
How?
How? Why? The executive brings a treaty that they have signed with America, and you think you can change the clauses in Parliament? You can't. Not even the defense minister can do that. No. Without the consent of the government of US. For instance, when you say in Article 3 that Ghana shall accord to military personnel and civilian personnel the privileges, exemptions, and immunities equivalent to those accorded to administrative and technical staff of a diplomatic missions under the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations of April 18, 1990.
They are not Ghanaians. They represent the United States of America. What's wrong with that? They already have an embassy here. We accord them all these.
You see, their staff at the American embassy are diplomats. Are the military men also diplomats?
They could be accorded that status.
No. This is what this document is seeking to create. And I'm just asking a simple question. Are they diplomats? They are not. Roland, go to Article 3, bullet number 2, military personnel. And in this case, military personnel refers to the military personnel of US. If you go to the definitions, military personnel may possess and carry arms in Ghana while on duty if authorized to do so by their orders. Such authorization being made in consultation with the appropriate authorities of Ghana. Military personnel may wear their uniforms while performing official duties. So what it therefore means is that military personnel of US can wear uniform and can handle weapon. In fact, and so if you now see a military man on the streets of Accra or Tamale or Kumasi, you should be asking him to know whether he's a Ghanaian soldier or a military personnel from US. Can you imagine a Ghanaian soldier wearing our uniform in US and handling weapon? Can you just imagine that? Roland, that is not enough. That is not enough. Military personnel and civilian personnel may enter and exit Ghana with the United States government furnished ID. They don't need a passport. They don't need a visa. All that they require is an ID card of US, and they can enter and exit Ghana at any time. Go to Article 5, bullet number 1. Ghana hereby provides unimpeded access to and use of agreed facilities and areas to the United States forces. How can this be that in our own soil, in our own land, we are offering them unfettered access, restricted access to military facilities in this country? A facility that they would establish, and that only the American military personnel and their associate staff can access that. Not even the President of the Republic can access that facility. This is an independent state. We are a sovereign state, and we cannot, for any reason, surrender our sovereignty to the United States of America in this manner.
Well, the defense minister in a press conference outlined all these and said that foundational to this or premise, this agreement in itself is also premised on earlier pacts we've had with the U.S. May not be with the same consolidated intensity, but that foundational mindset is already inherent in a cooperation that we already have with the United States of America.
Ghana is a member of a committee of nations. We cannot operate alone, and so it is not strange. I've told you this earlier, that it is not strange that you establish some cooperation of a sort with a different country. But what is worrying are the contents, the terms and conditions, that a military facility will be established by the U.S. Army, and that only they would have access to it, exclusive access to it. And to you,
that is worrying.
Is that not worrying to you, that a military of a different state would establish a base in your country, and your military, not even your defense minister or your president, can access it? You can't even access it to know what they are doing in there. And Roland, military men and the associated staff of the U.S. Army can't drive in Ghana without a license. They don't need a license to drive. They can arm themselves in their uniforms and drive in Ghana without any license. And if they were to commit any crime in this country, they will not be subject to the laws of this country.
Well, we already have an agreement we signed within the period of the Kufuor administration, I remember, and that already enjoins citizens of the United States of America to be tried in the U.S. if they have any.
So you see, you are seeking to entrench. You are seeking to entrench it, and that is bad. And remember,
you are not getting the import of what the commentary has been.
When you talk about President Kufuor, that reminds me that this is not a new thing. Even under President Kufuor, when Nana Akufo-Addo was the foreign minister, there were attempts by the U.S. to establish African Command in Ghana. I remember Uncle Kwesi Pratt was very, very vociferous against it. It never succeeded. Today, the man who was the foreign affairs minister and was seeing that project through is now the president of the republic. And that same thing is being brought back to us. And look, even what they import into this country, you have no right to inspect what they bring into this country. All taxes and levies and duties are weighed. What do we stand to gain from this thing? What at all do we stand to gain as a country? But that is just one aspect of it. Surrendering our sovereign status to America and becoming a lower country to America, even within the Ghanaian soil. That's just one aspect of the issue.
Right.
It has security implications. It has security implications. You see, there's this thing that your enemy's friend is your enemy. America comes to establish a military base in Ghana, and you think you will not attract terrorist groups from all parts of the world?
That's the consequences or the effect.
Well,
and the other side of the political divide where he belongs to, and even with academia and civil society come to criticize this consistently, to say we may have some premise to make some conclusions that we already have an ongoing relationship with America. But at the end of the day, it doesn't inure to the benefit of the Ghanaian people. And that is at the heart of the matter, Mr. Ochemabwadi.
Roland, good morning.
Good morning to you,
Good morning to those who are watching us.
Yes, sir.
To my people, good people in Bantima constituency. It looks as if this is something that is quite new, but it is not. Cooperative agreements have been going on forever, like he said.
Well,
and what our friends in NDC is doing is just basically trying to exaggerate this.
Exaggeration?
It is. That's what it is. There isn't anything more to that.
Why
it's
is
much
that an
ado about
exaggeration?
nothing. These things have been going on for a long time. But what is he talking about? To me, they are still peddling their propaganda. Look at what he just said. He picked and chose what he wanted to talk about. But you know, I will point to you in various parts of the document that you hold that there are areas that may be exclusive to the U.S. Go to Article 5 and read this, page 3. But there are areas, hold on, I'll show you. Hold on, please. When you were talking, no.
I'm not speaking.
No, he's not speaking. He says he can make reference. So please go ahead.
There are areas that are joint use that we can together jointly have access to. There are areas that Ghana authorities and the U.S. will have opportunity to do joint inspection and all that. Now, my friend, another colleague, is quite unfortunate. The document he holds is the agreement, which is not signed. It is not signed because it is yet to receive parliamentary ratification. Here is the memo from the Ministry of Finance that is signed. This comes with this.
It has to be signed.
You know,
it has to be signed according to practice.
Look at it. It is signed.
Yeah, true. That's
by who? The Minister of Defense, dated 14th March 2018. Don't, you know, this is what we, how much do you care for Ghana? Why are you doing all this? This document.
Oh, take it
hold on, please.
Oh.
Please.
Hold on, please. Let me show you.
No, it's okay.
Give it to me, that document. I want to show him one other thing. Even on the same document. This is also the cabinet approval that comes with this memo.
To who?
The cabinet, hold on. Cabinet is only, cabinet is only requesting Parliament that we as members of cabinet have signed the Minister of Government. Because it has to go from the minister, it goes to cabinet for cabinet approval and review before it comes to Parliament. Right? So the presidency has signed. The minister has signed. The agreement that is yet to be ratified is not signed because it requires parliamentary approval. That is part of the lies our friends are peddling. Part of it. Well, by the way, if you read this article, if you read this agreement.
Oh, these are my documents, remember.
It makes reference to an agreement they signed in Washington, D.C. in April 13, 2015. It referenced that document.
Yes,
this is just a continuation. Yes. And also another one that was signed in Ghana, April 28, 2015. By who?
Well, the Minister of Foreign Affairs at the time.
You know, the purpose of this joint security cooperation is for both Ghana and America. Our friends are trying to make it look so bad as if nothing has happened. But what did they do? The reason we have opportunity to discuss this is because this government respects the people of Ghana. The Kufuor government respects the people of Ghana. Respect rule of law.
By which means and by which actions?
I have received it as a president. Cabinet has looked at it. We have given our consent, our approval. But let it go to the people's rep.
And you are saying that it's at variance to what may have happened in the past?
You know.
Which one?
When they had the opportunity with Gitmo 2, it was done under the secrecy. NDC. No consultation whatsoever. When the media people met former President Mahama, he said, I did extensive consultation. How can you do extensive consultation without consulting Parliament? Who represent the people? So President Kufuor is saying, listen, I like this. The minister has signed it, has brought it to me. We like it. We have reviewed it. It's to our benefit. It's going to help us. But I'm not going to just decide it for myself. Let it go before Parliament. If Parliament decides not to rectify it, then so be it.
But
if Parliament agrees,
it looks like one half of Parliament. Well, it may not be a full half. It's not in tacit agreement with the president.
Listen, you know the difference between us and them.
You and who?
MPP
us and them.
And NDC. is the fact that we respect the rule of law, respect Ghanaian people. We are not going to do anything under the shadow of darkness. That's not what we are going to do. So let's take it to Parliament. The reason we are able to see this, all of us are able to interrogate this, is because the President has opened it up.
But Mr. Ochemwaja, let me just apprise you of this.
Go ahead.
And if you go to the section Article 8 on security, after we've given them all those tariff waivers, Ghana is even supposed to be responsible for their stay here and even the security of their facility. Yeah. If there's any at all.
Let me tell you this, Roland. Some of these benefits they are getting, tax waivers, these are not new. Reference to, go and reference the old agreements. These are not new. These are things that they have. And let me tell you, if you go to the US and you have international license, you can drive. You can drive. You don't have to have American license. You can drive. So what they are talking about, those benefits and incentives that are being given are already given. It's there. So what is the fear? They are only trying to put fear in Ghanaians and try to make it look good. What did you do when you had the opportunity? And let me tell you, Roland, the difference, another difference we need to notice that Ghanaians voted for President Akufo-Addo for a reason. He's deciding in the interest of Ghanaians.
How can this be in the interest of the people? When, for example, buildings constructed by American forces shall become the property of Ghana once constructed, but shall be used by United States until no longer needed by the United States.
Roland, we have already been receiving a lot of help, joint exercises from the Americans.
So this is not.
They're gonna continue to train. That's why they referenced that April 2015 agreement. They're going to train our military men. They're going to do all that. And the good thing is that the president is in the driving seat. He's deciding for Ghana. Ghanaians voted for him for a reason. Yes, Ghanaians may express our displeasure or we may not like this, but it is before Parliament. Let's go and decide and choose. You go around and blame this government also for security issues. You turn around and come and say, this is not good. I think our friends we should put our politics on the side and look at Ghana's interest in this cooperative agreement.
If we have to do
that, it's not that bad.
We've even had Dr. Vladimir so other civil society organizations come to say this.
Other civil societies may have their opinion. I also have my opinion. All these things I'm expressing here is my opinion.
You have lived in the United States of America. You look at consistently the wave of attacks that have been targeted at American facilities, even in mainland the United States. And you look at over the last 2 decades, on facilities of the United States of America outside the U.S. mainland, we should be afraid. We've had attacks in Kenya, at least over the last 2 decades we've had records in Tanzania. Consistently, we've had some attacks on American troops in the Sahel region because they tried to do some intervention. America indeed is not like on the continent, won't you say?
Right.
Yes, sir.
What is the alternative? America is not liked.
Well, Ghana could go and befriend better, maybe China instead of America.
Let me tell you.
Because America is not like that.
It is true. But it is also true that, of course, this may come with some risk. But it is good to anticipate these things and begin to plan against those. Who do you want to ally with? Is the one that can help you, your traditional partners, or who? Who are you going to align with? And he was talking about that America is going to have unimpeded access. Unimpeded, Ghanaians can have it. It's not true. Go to Article 5. Let me tell you. Even in ordinary tenancy agreement, when you rent your room to somebody, part of your house to somebody, legally, you're supposed to quit enjoyment. Quit enjoyment. Let alone American that is coming to use your facility. Even your own wife, if you have enough bedroom to give your wife a room, sometimes you don't go there. Your wife can even shut the door on you. So
that's in
where they have where they have exclusive access, it is left to them. You have to let them enjoy their enjoyment. Where we have joint access, we do together. And I'm telling you, it is in Article 5. So now read all of it.
So now the two of you.
So don't pick
it's good that both sides, the two of you,
let's go and debate
all belong to both sides of the house. So where do we move from here with this? I heard Nelson Dapamakwa Roxon saying that we needed to have this signed. And when it comes to back to the House, what then?
Roland, even before I proceed to answer that question, let me just tell my friend and brother that this is a memo to Parliament.
But it's signed.
Oh, take it easy. Why? Why? You take your time.
Is it signed?
Take your time and listen to me. This is a memo signed by the defense minister, because every treaty or agreement or paper coming from the executive must come with an accompanying memo. And so this is the memo. That one is clearly signed. Okay. Now, when you refer to this letter and you say this letter was signed, this was not signed to Parliament. Read it very well. Okay. This wasn't signed. This was a letter signed by Mercy Deborah Karikari, Secretary to the Cabinet. To the Defense Minister, not to Parliament. Okay. To the Defense Minister. Okay. So I'm not sure you even read what you have read. My brother, take it easy.
This is your document, but I'm saying that all I was trying to say is that this is signed by Cabinet.
Try to say it.
This is from the minister requesting our approval. So what else?
When you're on the floor,
but the good thing is that it's signed.
Roland, can't you talk to him?
Okay. So at the end of the day,
it's signed.
No.
So at the end of the day,
this letter is not to Parliament.
Okay.
To the Defense Minister.
Sure.
So that's out.
So the committee is saying that the minority on the committee document
that you bring to Parliament.
So it has to be signed.
Either a bill, a treaty, or an agreement should be signed. All that we are required to do is to ratify.
Okay.
What is
to ratify.
Is this signed or not signed?
Oh, you see, I just want to deal with the issue.
Let's go on the issue.
See,
Mr. Abdulaziz.
Just admit
that
your agreement isn't signed.
I said now, after this is signed, granted it goes back and signed, then what happens?
What happens is that, you see, when the issue of the Gitmo 2 came up, when they brought it to Parliament for ratification, the agreement that President Mahama and the NDC signed, in fact, what we did in 2015 was nothing but sharing of diplomatic notes between the two heads of state. Later, it came up through a Supreme Court ruling that we needed to seek for parliamentary ratification, and so it was brought to Parliament. When they brought it to Parliament, it was ratified. Their stay in Ghana expired, and we asked, what next? You either come to Parliament to renew that agreement.
We know that. This one.
Now, you know what they said then?
What do we do with this one? After it's signed, what do we do then?
Oh, Roland, I want to expose the hypocrisy.
No, I don't have the time. I want to move on and deal with Unibank. So what do we do?
What do we do? Signed. We are only coming to extend it. Ghana integrity.
What do we do with this one?
After it's signed, what will we do?
Ranks you very low. You say, oh, these are followers from 2016. Now you are dealing with the issue of military cooperation between Ghana and US, and you want to refer it to the 2015 agreement. I'm saying that this has got nothing.
They referenced it.
Reference. You see, this has got nothing. I'm saying it is not strange to have some cooperation of a sort. Look, I have nothing against US. If we want to have a military agreement with them,
I understand.
That would safeguard
you have stated your
position.
Of both countries. The minority in Parliament has stated its position. I'm saying that after this is signed and brought back, what happens?
We would not support it in this current form and shape. We would not support it at the committee level, and we would not support it in the plenary. In fact, we will galvanize the support of the ordinary Ghanaian on the streets to throw away this agreement.
We are going to go on a demonstration?
I haven't said so. I say we would galvanize the support of the ordinary Ghanaian, the civil society, to ensure that this treaty or agreement does not.
What does it mean? You are going to go on a demonstration?
No, I haven't said so.
The minority is going to lead a demonstration?
I haven't said so. I am saying, as a responsible minority, we would use every available tool, legitimate though, to make sure that this treaty does not see the light of day. You see,
what do you mean by you will galvanize support among civil society and the public?
I'm a member of Parliament. I'm a member of the minority. I'm on your platform. I'm engaging. I'm informing public opinion.
So you are galvanizing support. So if you elicit or you solicit that,
will do that,
you are going to hit the streets?
Even if it means you have to tell lies.
I haven't said so. That is a decision that will be taken by the leadership of the minority and the party. But Roland, even beyond what I have said, you see, my friend was talking about Go to you.
Roland,
Article 5.
too much time.
Oh, don't take it. Don't take, you just take it, bro. Article 5. 4.
Let's go to
United States forces are hereby authorized to control entry to agreed facilities and areas that have been provided for exclusive use.
Continue.
Oh, my brother. Exclusive use by the United States forces.
And
that becomes a different part.
Go ahead.
And to coordinate entry with the authorities of Ghana at agreed facilities and areas provided for joint. So there are two facilities here.
You
so
get it.
There's an exclusive
where you have given them exclusive use.
And do you know the two of you will decide how you enter.
Where we have joint, we will do together. They don't have anything.
Even offering them spectrum
to
establish their own telecommunication system. What it means is that whatever they do and say on that spectrum, you don't have access to it, including even establishing a media house, like a television station or a radio station. I mean, can any African country do same in US? This is not Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana.
Roland.
This is not Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana.
What I
please wrap up for me. Let me go on to
let me wrap up.
This is not Kwame Nkrumah's
Hold on, please.
I'm sure by now.
Sorry, I give you only 3 minutes. I give you only 3 minutes.
Three is enough.
Oh.
The good thing is that the agreement is before Parliament for ratification. Let's go on the floor and debate. If you're going to galvanize Ghanaians.
And that even reminds me.
Please.
No,
please.
You are saying please.
No.
You are saying please.
No, I am saying
how many times
please,
do you
please,
me?
People are listening to us.
I'm just listening to you.
Mr. Mohammed Abdulaziz.
No.
Let's go.
Let's be fair. If you are going to galvanize Ghanaians,
people were not listening.
we and the media, I entreat you to put this out there. Let people also read it for themselves.
And the Minister for Information.
The difference. Let him make his point.
The difference
Roland, you should have told him to
Roland,
keep mute
the difference is that
floor.
MPP government is transparent government. It's not going to hide behind issues that are bad and just decide on things in the bedrooms and the secret places and not let Ghanaians know. If, to be honest with you, the MPP government is a listening. No, hold on. The MPP government is a listening government.
It's acceptable.
If truly speaking, Ghanaians don't like this, the government can change its mind. But I'm telling you, we want Ghanaians to have...
a section of the people's representatives in Parliament don't like it. It means that some sizable number of Ghanaians don't like it.
But who decided? Ghanaians decided to give us the steer.
Roland. And
they decided to give us the mantle.
And Mustafa Hamid,
they know that this president is capable of choosing and making good decisions for them.
This one.
What our friends in NDC are doing, they can have their say.
Roland.
Let's go and do it. We will have our way if it makes sense. We all represent people.
Do you know why?
Right? So what I'm saying that... Roland, hold on.
Mustafa Hamid, the Education Minister, described us as NDC
Roland, are you... Listen. What I'm saying is that we are going... The good thing is that it's before Parliament. Let's go and do the debate.
Well, let's move on.
Over there. Let's go.
The Bank of Ghana.
Engage you both in the chamber and in the media space.
You are going you say you are going to galvanize. You are going to galvanize
support.
So for people to hit the streets,
nobody is going to surrender Ghana's sovereignty to any country. Nobody will surrender Ghana's sovereignty to any country.
Please.
For what?
Okay. Can we move on? I have some message. Let me just read some message.
It's a big issue for you.
Minister,
you cannot.
Mustafa Hamid, that we are not NDC elements. We are members of Parliament.
People are listening to us.
Let me read some message.
We are members of Parliament.
Yao Owusu Ansa Community 3 Tema. I know that very well. I think over the weekend I'll go to the junction, so I'll pass through there. It says, Roland, the MPP's arguments are totally flawed. The fact, for instance, that the NDC might have initiated some of these agreements, but does not justify its continuation by the MPP. We voted for change, so let's see the change manifest in government.
That's why we...
Historically, anywhere U.S. forces have gone, terrorism has followed them there, because of the obnoxiously aggressive and selfishly chaotic U.S. foreign policy. I said, look at events in Kenya, Somalia, Afghanistan, Iraq, etc., and lately Syria. Invariably, they have led the countries or the host countries worse off. Is this the kind of experience we want for peaceful Ghana?
You are justifying it.
Well, read them more. Honorable Achabaji and Mohammed, listen. Abbas Amogobo from offense. So this current government should tell us the reasons why they are continually justifying Ghana to allow U.S. to establish military bases. The minister must stop giving explanations. We all have read the agreement. It's good that you're all reading. Please read.
Yes, read.
So that we'll get to know. It has to be debated. Mr. Roland, It says Mr. Roland is becoming a little bit unfair to the NDC. He's called Mohammed Abdulaziz. He's a member of parliament for Myong, so don't worry. And Isaac Duda from Upper West. Oh, Isaac. Oh. All my friends in Tamale.
Fair observation.
Decibel.
Fair observation.
This is not
fair observation from Isaac.
Uncontrolled amount of time.
Okay. Fair observation. So I have this last one before I move to Unibank. It says, Emilia from Asawasi, why is it that this administration will never accept their fault but tries to always bring previous administration to justify what they want to do? And this, greetings to Nana Kwesi, current chairman of Bekwai, current vice chairman, Bekwai NDC. Okay, so greeting NDC people. Okay, and this one is from the UK, is a +44 number. It says, the government should listen to the minority. They have a valid point. And that's from Yao Pagapio. He says, it's almost like the MP parliamentarians have been bribed by the US. Say you've been bribed by the US. No. Okay, so let's move on.
We don't do that.
Well, we know that the Bank of Ghana has had a position made clear on Unibank. KPMG is now taking place. But yesterday we witnessed some activities. Angry customers besieged branches. But that's why the best of the protection was made available to those branches, so we don't have panic withdrawals, etc. But first, just give me your own observation about what has transpired over the last 48 hours, so to speak.
Well, Roland, let me just say that we all have to applaud Bank of Ghana for what it is doing. I'm so familiar with the financial service sector to the point that some of the measures that Bank of Ghana is implementing now is ultimately going to help Ghana, of course, to go beyond aid and, of course, to be able to save our country. They've asked for the increase in capital, about 400 million for the banks. In terms of, Unibank, Roland. Unibank has been on life support for the last 2 years or more, and so if you look at the trend of affairs, according to what we have read, the release from Bank of Ghana, we realized that from 2016, their capital adequacy ratio was below 10% as required by Bank of Ghana. I think it was 4.75, and because of that, there was a plan to build it up. In August 2017, they were supposed to have increased it to 7.7%, and it didn't happen. Only come and find out in October 2017 that it is actually worsened. The situation of the capital adequacy ratio has worsened from 4.75 in 2016 to 12.5 in October 2017. And ultimately in December 2017, -24. Basically, technically insolvent. The bank cannot pay its liabilities or its debt as and when they fall due. At that point in time, Bank of Ghana has to intervene. And there was, if you look at the release, it was even a point where they were not even reporting. The monthly reports that are supposed to go to Bank of Ghana were not coming. In that case, you keep the regulator in the dark, and definitely it's going to cause these kinds of things. So if you look at what Bank of Ghana has done, once again, this intervention, I believe, is timely. And when you talk about Bank of Ghana, remember, Bank of Ghana just didn't go in to shut down or to take over for 6 months Unibank. They've been supporting Unibank with some lifeline, 2.2 billion Ghana cedis to support them, most of which is not even secured. Okay, it's not secured because they are the lender of last resort, right? So what they have done, I believe, it is to help Ghanaians, and depositors should not rush to the bank because Bank of Ghana is standing behind to make sure that everything works. So I believe they've done the right thing.
Some 3 minutes for you.
Roland, the financial sector, I'm getting worried of what is happening within the financial sector in this country. We have always called for some financial inclusiveness. We want to make sure that the banking industry booms. We want to get more Ghanaians to develop the culture of banking. But following what happened to UT and Capital Bank and now Unibank, is worrying. The Bank of Ghana must play its oversight role very well.
And they're doing it.
Oh, take it easy. I've said they are not doing it.
Okay, that's all right.
They should play their oversight role very well. Just recently, there was this news of the Ministry of Finance trying to go for some 2 billion Ghana cedis. Is it 2 billion Ghana cedis or US dollar? You are with the Finance Committee bond to be able to bring to a closure the collapse of UT and Capital Bank. The question that arises is why? I can't understand why someone would go and operate his own bank, establishes his bank, would post profit for God knows how long, benefit his profits, shareholders benefit, and when the bank is in crisis, you go and take a bond of $2 billion US. That will be serviced by the taxpayer.
Well, there was a bailout by the U.S. government during the credit crunch.
$44 million to Citibank.
That can. Oh, you see, I'm not sure that there are people lacking safe drinking water anywhere in U.S. We are talking of a country where majority of our people still live within very low incomes, less than $1 a day, where people have no access to safe drinking water. Basic sanitation amenities are not available, and so for you to go for a $2 billion US dollar bond, that will be serviced by the ordinary taxpayer, a man who lives somewhere in Joblaju or Tambabu in my constituency, who doesn't even know that there's a bank called UT or Capital, and now being asked to pay for a bond that is used to salvage these banks. I have a problem with it. The details in respect of the Unibank are so scanty for now. We can only wait for some few days to get further and better particulars on the happenings with Unibank. When this happens and customers panic and rush to the banks, the confidence in the banking system dwindles, and that's not good for our economy. But it's only worrying and interesting that under the man that you call incompetent President Mahama and Setekpe, all the banks were doing well. Now, under the man who has proven to be an asset, Ken Oforiatta, banks are collapsing. What is happening?
Roland,
there's a big question there. Oh, I'll just ask a question.
Roland,
I'm saying that under the man, Ken Oforiatta,
I should do that.
Who has become an asset?
I should say what you want to say.
An asset for Ghana.
I should say.
And under competent,
it's all right. We understand.
Banks are collapsing. Those banks survived under the tenure of President Mahama and Setekpe. We must be worried. And we must ask questions.
As you add to your reaction,
he wants to act again. He had his time.
Yeah, no. but consistently it's been seen that it's because of the management of the banks. So it's got to be a question of the management competency, and then
general business environment,
proper supervision by government through the Bank of Ghana, and then government-owned banks are not paying through the contractors, etc.
Roland,
and then also you add, was that the best way for the Bank of Ghana to announce this?
I think it's the best way. They had to do what they had to do, given that they were kept in the dark. I kind of like wonder where my friend is coming from.
Not from Azerbaijan.
Please. Talking about that under...
You are wondering where I'm coming from.
Please.
I'm just assuring you that I'm not coming from Azerbaijan.
Because now we have a deposit protection scheme, etc.
Don't distract me, please. That under President Akufo-Addo and the finance minister, which said to be an asset to Ghana, and I fully agree to that.
I didn't say
banks
so.
Are collapsing. Let me tell you. Let's go to the root causes. There are many causes. In fact, management is part of it. Poor economy is part of it. Staff is part of it. Even people who borrow from a bank and don't pay are part of it. But
you
the major, please,
you don't pay contractors.
Hold on.
You don't pay suppliers.
Hold on, please.
And so they are
the major cause, if we were to
loans.
attribute it to anybody, it's all from the NDC's mess.
I have
hold on,
not
please.
attributed to anyone.
Because you are questioning why is it that under the competent government. Hold on.
Answer the question.
Please. Please. It's getting too much.
What's getting too much?
You, under your watch, NDC's watch for 8 years, 9 banks were on the life support. Okay, one of them.
They survived.
It's not unusual.
They survived.
According to
I am coming.
According to historical,
He's asking
They
where would the
survived.
Bank of Ghana go
They
and
survived.
give 2.2 billion to support bank? Let me understand. You
They
don't understand
survived.
the implication of the bank collapsing on the whole financial sector.
So when
Bank of Ghana is not in the interest. So Bank of Ghana,
they won't reach where they are
please. What did you do? You are the government that accumulated a lot of debt, never paid people, caused people business to fall down and unable to pay their taxes because of doing so. You owe so many people and never paid.
Are you paying them
Hold
today?
on. When you don't pay them,
Are you paying them today?
we are dealing with it.
You have been in power
we
for
are
over
managing
1
your
year.
debt. Please.
We have been in power.
We are paying. You know
over
it.
1 year.
We are paying it.
So when you don't pay contractors and you claim that
Roland,
your deficits are
are
coming
you
down,
hosting this? No.
when you don't pay,
He's
your,
having his
when
bites.
you don't pay,
After that, we'll close.
when you don't pay contractors,
Okay, what I'm saying
and
is that
suppliers,
so
and you claim
if
your deficits are
anybody
coming
is to
down,
be blamed,
you can only collapse the
if
banking
anybody
industry.
is to be blamed, it's the NDC
You are collapsing the
government
banking
that caused
industry.
this. The reason being that when the Bank of
Just
Ghana,
send notice
when,
that you don't heckle
when,
me. When you
when,
heckle me, I'll heckle
when
you.
NDC government is not paying contractors.
a national asset. Banks
Right.
are collapsing under your heads.
When they are not paying contractors, when they are putting people through so when they are competing with people to borrow from the banks and making interest rate too expensive, ultimately it hits the banks, bottom line. They go in negative, it affects their non-performing loans because borrowers are not able to pay. The government itself is not even paying, NDC government.
We're not in power today.
Oh, hold on. So we are dealing with their mess.
He was rained.
So what is happening is that if you really want to blame somebody for the collapse of these banks, go back. It's the NDC government mess. The economy was bad, it was not doing well, people, contractors were not being paid, government was borrowing and competing for money.
It's okay.
Okay. So if you go and
look at power for 18
Roland,
months.
let me just
what is happening? Go and look at the accruals, the arrears accumulation rate, right? Under their watch, debts and accumulation of non-paid bills was about 36% on average, 4 years. Ours is 13 years. What it means is
13 years. You have been in power for 1 year.
13%.
That is not true.
Hold on. What it means is that
please.
what it means is that under NDC's watch,
Roland,
if they borrow or they give you a
quiet
contract
and
and they owe you 100 Ghana cedis,
I can't.
36 Ghana cedis will not be paid.
Check your
Under
debt
our
levels
watch,
today. Check your debt
30
levels today.
cedis will be delayed.
You have
It will be
borrowed
paid.
over
So
100.
all we are dealing with is
Check your debt
NDC's
today.
mess. Go
You
to
have
school
borrowed-
feeding.
So now
we
you are blaming the NDC.
No, it is them who
banks
caused
are
it.
collapsing under
If we are
your
going,
watch.
if
And
we
you are
are
blaming
going
the
to,
NDC.
if you are
How
going
can this
to
be?
attribute
But
who
this
caused
shouldn't be
it,
political,
Every
right?
bank in
this
NDC.
should. That's why I
You
didn't
want
start
to
that
claim
way.
credit for everything.
That is why I didn't start that way.
and the
But I'm
credit
telling
for
you,
that-
Today you have not made
it
your
is.
fellow panelists have a
It is
the case of
NDC's.
the man who
It
has
is
proven to be the
NDC's
national
mess
asset.
that is
And the
causing all the
competent
banks to
Akufo-Addo,
collapse.
banks are collapsing.
No.
Daniel
Under
Ochema
President
Boaje.
Mahama.
Daniel
No.
Ochema
And
Boaje is a member of
they
parliament for
survived.
Bantama.
They were on life
And
support.
Mohammed Abdulaziz is a member of parliament for Myong. The two of you, I don't know today. I don't know.
Support them. Support them.